How are you?
How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So,
Good.
thanks for talking to me again. I'm glad that you're not too famous for me now. It's been
No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
awesome. So, we're technically in the future and the finale has aired.
Yeah.
Um, K9 snitched.
Yo, listen.
Were you surprised at where it went for K9? Because he seemed to really live like by the code of the streets.
Yeah, he lived by the code of streets. I think with him at this point, anybody who crossed him, he probably felt, look, you know what? They deserve it. So that's why he picked specific people they snitched on and not Meech, right? Because he could have snitched on Meech if he wanted to, but he didn't. And I think a lot of people gonna have to realize that. Yeah. So those are the people that he felt crossed him. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna rat these dudes out. And the thing with Cena, which I've been getting so much flack about because they're like, yo, how you owe the Colombian 20 million? Why he's not paying him? Does he have the money? And I think what it is people got to go back to they didn't give anybody the backstory in episode one, right? So what happened is him and Cena and K9 are friends. They were friends, right? And he saved his life because Cena was on drugs. So K9 got him off of drugs. So he felt that 20 million that saved your life.
Oh, that was
You
rehab.
should that 20 million. You know what I mean? That's how. So it's off a principle. He feels you shouldn't be asking for that 20 million. I saved your life, and that's what people got to realize. That's the reason why he didn't want to pay the 20. It's not that he didn't have it, but hey, you should eat that. You know what I mean? And you can even look at the time that he ended up shooting his mom in the head. She was stealing from him. It was principle again. So a lot of the stuff that K9 is doing is off of principle, right?
Yeah, he did shoot his mom at a fundraiser for the poor.
Right, right. You know what I mean? So all she had to do was ask him for money. That's all she had to do. He would have gave her the money because he's going to give it to the poor anyway. So he was doing charitable work.
That's probably my favorite K9 line is he shoots his mom, tells her to get up, and he's like, let's go give this money to the poor. Just because, like, what is going on? I feel like a lot of people are like, that's not his mom. But he specifically says, Mom, get up. And people are like, oh, maybe it's an aunt or like a random
Right.
woman.
Yeah.
No.
I think
He
what it is, sorry to cut you off. I think what it is the verbiage because ma in present terms, people will call anybody ma. They won't, not their mother. Detroit, they use that. And then even when Da Vinci said old lady in the next scene, people still think it could have been K9's girl, but you call different women old lady as well, which could be a girl in present time. So I think that's what got people confused about whether it was his mother, whether it was his aunt, whether it was his girl. But yeah, that's his mom.
it he's but the thing is what is surprising about that scene or shouldn't be Meech isn't phased at all. Like Terry's like, what's going on? And Meech is just like
Yeah, right.
so
Well,
yeah, this is my BFF K9. Like but what is K9's surprising loyalty to Meech, honestly? Like Meech went behind his back and his response was like, oh well, I probably would have done the same thing. So okay. Like, why is he so cool with Meech?
because I feel he just liked the way he went about it. You know what I mean? Like, and then remember, you got to say he was telling them, "Listen, I handled your cousin for you. He went behind your back. I handled him for you. You would have probably did the same thing. At the same time, me just in a sense behind that saying you would have done the same thing as well. You would have took out your own cousin because he did this. So this was my way to get in, and I just used it. And then he also said, "Hey, if I got to pay it back in blood, so be it." So he was telling Kanan, "Look, if you got to take my life because I did what I had to do, it is what it is." That's what he respected. Because remember how you said if Cena and the Colombians want to come get their money, they get it back in blood. So in a sense, Meech was using the kind of same tactics that K9 was using, right? Getting in your head. He got in
Yeah.
K9's head at the time. Look, your cousin went behind your back. If I gotta do this in blood, so be it. So he respected that.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like Meech, especially this season, learns a lot from K9, but it's not an over the top as in like, oh well, K9 taught me this, K9 taught me that. But Meech at this point is willing to eat a lot of money because he thinks it's overall not great for business.
Right.
He's willing to cut people out of the crew just because, hey, morally, I actually think, like when the guy was pushing up on the girl, morally, I think it's wrong. But if you get caught, you're clearly going to be a snitch. So, yeah. And even his whole thing that blood doesn't really make you brothers, loyalty does, is I think semi saved B-Mickie's life
Yeah.
ish because he was about to kill B-Mickie when they had that whole
Yeah.
very bad boys were on the roof and it's about to be a shootout, but then he
Right.
gets super emotional.
Yeah, you get super emotional. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it's crazy. Even you look at even when Meech did the car wash, right?
Mm-hmm.
He learned that from K9 when K9 was washing money through the ice cream spot.
Mm-hmm.
He learned so much from him, and you see how he grew, just by learning from K9 this season. He wasn't that I guess the guy kind of just feeling out the business when he was working with Pat in season one.
Yes. And Pat was also just literally cracked out, so he was super
Yeah.
helpful. And I think
Never
it's
get high on your own spot.
yes, I think it's also super funny because I don't think people connected that in real life the actors who play Pat and Brian are brothers and that they just are just polar opposites
Yeah, totally obvious.
when it
That's why a
comes.
lot of people love that scene that they had together.
Yeah, I it's crazy. But speaking of Bryant, I sent you this meme.
Yeah.
Kevin, what like plot twist that the most ruthless, even though it wasn't his motivation, but the most ruthless character of them all is Kevin. Cold blood killed the kid.
Yeah.
Was what was probably the most shocking part of the finale to you?
That would be, I think, shocking. I think me looking outside in, I would have probably saw that because yeah, I just as an actor, you're looking and you like, I know this is gonna happen. But I think for everybody else, it's a shock. Obviously, they probably didn't see that coming. They didn't see K9 snitching either. So the whole finale is a shocker for a lot. It's gonna be a shocker for a lot of people.
I think another like subtle shocker is Meech going to Atlanta, but he's saying, "Oh, like we won't step on each other's toes." I think he secretly has like, and I feel like we also just because we semi know the backstory, he's starting to have issues with Terry because of Markeisha. That he knows, especially after she cut off the rat tail, that your loyalty isn't 100% to me. You're going to always put Markeisha first. And at this point in time, we kind of just need to split up.
Yeah, I think that happens actually in a lot of relationships. Sometimes, the woman gets in your head, and the guy's head over heels, and sometimes he starts to lose focus on what he should be focusing on. And I think that's what's going on here. That Meech, he had the two women in his life, he still was focused on what he needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
That he sees that with Terry, it's he's losing focus. He's going off a track. So I think that's what starts to build that tension. And they already had tension from before, when he was trying to go legit and non-legit. So he can see that Terry's always on both sides of the field, right? Like episode 7, both sides of the fence. So he was always playing both sides of the fence this whole time.
Yeah. And speaking of both sides of the fence, I feel like they both look at BMF, and you can even kind of give me K9's philosophy on the drug game. Is Meech and Terry both have completely different point of views of what the drug game is. Terry views this as a Fortune 500 company. That's
Yeah.
this it is a professional business. I don't know why everyone is so angry at me. Meech literally thinks this is a nonprofit, the most philanthropic organization that has ever existed, and that it is divine and that God brought this to him for him to give back to his community. What do
Right.
you think K9's philosophy on the drug game is? Other than
Well,
it being his favorite activity of making money.
yeah. well, definitely something to, in a sense, like what Meech said. It's, you know, what you said Meech said is it feels is giving back, because you kind of look at how K9 does his thing, right? So even a little thing, giving the money back to the poor. He's having remember, K9 doesn't go out really. He has everybody come to him. So he has his gambling spot that people gamble, people have fun. So he's always trying to make his environment, you know, something that people want to come to. It's just almost like Meech, same way. And K9 is about the family oriented part of it. But Terry, hey, this is just business. This is, like you said, Fortune 500. And my guy, you know, Meech want to be able to help everybody out, similar to what K9 wants to do. So I can K9 can definitely see where you can see where both sides are going at it, but obviously, you know, he'll always lean towards Meech's side because this is what he told Meech. And, you know, like we said, flushing the money through the car wash, you know, little things like that he's able to do and able to flip his money. And K9 will definitely always see it Meech's way.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of debate on social media about who is more ruthless, K9 or Lamar. Who do you think it is, or do you think it's someone else?
I definitely think, and you're not being biased, I think it's K9. You can tell you shoot your mom in the face. That's top notch. I think a couple of things too. You got to think about it, right? You saw when Lamar had a heart when he met Lucille at the house, and she prayed for him, because he even talked about his mom. He talked about his mom, I believe, in episode 8. He talks about his mother very briefly. So with K9, you're not seeing him with no sentiments about nothing. You know, it is what it is. I even think what would have happened if K9 would have went in that church the same way. It would have been a different story. It would have been a different story in that church. Had Pastor Swift pulled out a gun on K9, it would have been different.
Yes. The church scene is, I just wish I was an extra in the scene. It was just so bizarre in a way, but also it made me team Lamar. Mine is like a few transgression. Like, I genuinely feel bad for Lamar because it said in season 1, I feel like people forget this, is that he was released from a mental hospital during, I believe, the Reagan administration, because they shut all of this down. Like, he's not 100% there, and you can see he has a heart for Blackie the dog, RIP. And also, I don't think he's mad at Meech for stepping on his toes in the drug game. I think he is really in love with Monique and is just jealous and really wants to know the paternity of the child. I think it's really in his head. And then the irony is that, like, he gets caught up in crack. It's just like, oh, like him just walking with like his little stuff on the street. It's just like, Lamar.
You get to see this. You start to see the softer side of Lamar as season 2 winds down. You get to see it, and it makes you feel, like you said, feel for him, Blackie. And then I believe he mentions recently that why everything I love dies, or something like that. He had mentioned that as well. So you can see that softer side of him. And with K9, you don't see that soft side. Even when Peaches stepped out on him, it was like, you know, trick. And he kept it moving. Hey, you should have brought this dude to me alive. It went straight to business. So that's why I would feel that K9 is more ruthless than Lamar. Even though Lamar did some stuff, K9 just goes about it a different way, you know, and he thinks about a lot of things. You know, Lamar is he's just acting off impulse, and K9 does off impulse too, but not too much. And that's why that's why it was so much of a shocker again when he shot his mom in the face, because at that point, you got to look at it as Cena is asking us $20 million, right? And K9 feels betrayed. It saved your life. Now you asking me for this $20 million. And then also his mother continues to steal, because he said, I'm tired of you stealing from me. So at this point, he just loses. You know what? I got to put on a demonstration, because I think y'all got me messed up. Yes. And then that's where he just acts off impulse at that scene.
Yes. But I will say, I think the most ruthless of them all is actually Mabel. Mabel is the snake in the grass of the
Snake in the
streets of
grass.
Detroit.
Yeah.
She's so ruthless. And I talked to Christine about it, and she's just like, yeah, like I play her as a snake.
Yeah.
I think the like unlikely villain that no one saw it coming is Russell as Charles. Like that, like I didn't know, like I'm not surprised that he cheated. I just didn't know it was just going to be like the messiest thing in earth. And I didn't know that Lucille was gonna boss up. And because I feel like everyone thinks she's just so forgiving, but she is just proof that everyone has a breaking point, and she's done. She has her jumpsuit on and she's out in the streets. She's done.
I can't understand the life of me why Charles saved that receipt and he paid cash. I can't get that. Like, what are you writing this off for taxes? Like, I don't understand it. Why are you saving the receipt?
It's so funny though, because the Easy Rest Motel is actually a motel in Metro Detroit that's literally next door to a Wendy's. Maybe that's where Lucille works, and people are
Right.
writing reviews on Google about Charles being there. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
But
But you can tell he never cheated. That's
yes,
for sure. You can tell the way he went about it, he never cheated. And the time he cheats, he messes up.
it's so. But to me, I don't think Mabel felt bad. I think it just wasn't satisfactory anymore.
Right.
It was just like, oh, she's my BFF. You didn't care because
Right.
you wouldn't have came back to give the skillet. You would have just left alone.
I agree.
I think she was just wanted to look at like the damage of her mess and just be like gross about it. She's funny. But speaking of social media, and especially you and Christine, because I feel like you guys like actually react the most. Were you surprised at like how strong the reaction was for season 2? Because it feels way bigger than season 1, honestly.
Yeah. Well, to also give the other shows credit, season 2 is always normally is a hit for a lot of shows. I think with us, I think like what Randy wanted us to do was elevate. So you were able to add on, even though you didn't see her a lot, but you didn't see Monique a lot, Leslie Jones a lot, but you were able to add on some vets into the game. And I'm a vet that people just didn't know who I was in the game. So I had years of experience and training. And I think, once they added all of us and elevated our roles, and also Lala being from the Power Universe, so she was also seasoned. I think once you add that and you actually Christine, right, the booking magnet, you add her on top. Kelly as well. So we added so much seasoned actors to this season. I think that's what helped, especially the story. I mean, the writing was great. So we were able to really get in sync with our characters and put the work out there, and people love it. And also like I said, the attraction of having a Monique, having Young Miami, having Leslie Jones and Lala Elevator, all these people have a lot of followings. So that also helped attract outside of the Power Universe, because the Power Universe, obviously, those are going to be the biggest fans because they love 50. So whatever 50 produces, they're going to watch. And you have those fans, and now you get fans from every other space, right? And I think that's what helped this season.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the veteran actors are like, you guys are finally getting your due. Like I was talking to Russell about it, and it's just like I've never experienced this type of attention, and it's kind of like that line that it took me years to become like an overnight success.
It's oh man, it's crazy. Like wherever I go, it's like people like, man, you know what I mean, and people want pictures, so it's an amazing that you can see so many people not only watch the show, but they love your character. Like I could be around the thuggest of the thugs, and they're like, man, I mess with your character. I'm like, I was telling my boys the other day, I was like, man, I could be in a club with the gangsters and they ain't gonna mess with K9, right? But a rapper, they will mess with the rapper because maybe the rapper's from a different neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's crazy to see that because they're watching the character on TV, and a lot of people, like when I say the gangsters, they feel they got identified with K9. So that's why it's so much love that people show me outside.
Yeah, for sure. But speaking of your background, you majored in criminal justice. But now you're playing K9. Like, where does this journey go?
Yeah, the irony. I tell you, like I would have loved for the breakout role to be an FBI agent, right? From studying criminal justice, but you playing the other side of the fence.
Mhm.
And it happened. This role happened to drop into my lap, and I'm glad that I was able to portray the role of K9 this season.
How did
Well,
you yeah. How did you transition from you were in school that then and I know that you study acting as well. How did you then decide that this was going to be your main career?
um, while I was in college, and that's actually when I started. I was once I was studying, I had that inkling where okay, let me go ahead and try to pursue this. Let me just check it out. Let me try it out. I was just going to school at the time, and I tried it out. And once I booked my first role, and started to dibble dabble in both the acting and the modeling, then I was like, oh, I'm taking a semester off. So I actually took a semester off of school because I was like, oh, I just wanted to go ahead and do acting. That's gonna be my career. And then I was like, let me go back and finish up. And I just wanted to be the first in my family to have a bachelor's. So I was like, let me just go back and finish up. But I always knew that acting was going to be what I was going to pursue as a career. I can be a cop on TV. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, as you are studying criminal justice, and you really get to, and you even see in movies like that we see all the time. A lot of stuff really happens. It would have brought danger to my family. I know the type of hard worker I am, coming from a Caribbean background, how my parents work hard. I'm not same type of person. So if I'm investigating a story, I'm going to really try to pursue these criminals in which they may try to want to go after my family. So stuff like that I thought about at the same time while going to school. And I was like, yeah, I can do it as an actor.
Yeah. Plus, you
I
got
should
so
have been
much character study by studying criminal justice. Like, I feel
an
like that's a very same approach to
actor.
being an actor. Um, so what do you hope for in season 3? Is K9 still in season 3? I feel like I never, once Lamar was alive, I just never trusted the show anymore. I'm like, anything's possible at this
You never
point.
know, right? You never know. We'll see. We'll see what happens in season 3.
Yeah.
Maybe he comes out of jail. Maybe he stays in jail.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
We will see. And I know you respond to a lot of the memes and stuff. What has been kind of your favorite meme this season?
Wow, wow. Oh yeah, it's so many. I do respond to a lot. But you know what's funny, and I'm gonna say because it's recent, so it's something I can remember.
Mhm.
So when somebody said K9's reaction when he got locked up for the feds, and he was like, it was that meme of the girl saying, "Mama, I love you." He holding down. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, "Oh my god!" So I had to repost that. That was funny.
That was funny. Another one that was funny related to K9 was because K9 has groupies. Was like that little boy from like Top Chef, like, oh, making K9's 20 million. Like,
Yeah, yo.
people are dedicated, like,
Yeah.
people are going to get K9 out, whether they have to go to Atlanta and talk to
Yeah.
Randy themselves. They are getting K9
They're
out. So you'll always be employed.
That's why I was like, I put hashtag free K9.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
let me play around with that, but it's been going around. It's been pretty funny. But yeah, the memes is crazy. Yeah, I love them. I love to respond. I love to see them. It makes me laugh. Just looking at the different memes people had. Somebody was like, "Oh hell no, I'm about to come out there and come get you. I'm coming to the hearing tomorrow."
It's it's really it's beautiful because it's obviously a black show. It's really, I won't say it's a family oriented show. Like, you're not going to be watching this with like little kids, but it is all about kind of this family and how they're all affected, and just like definitely an interesting part of black history because a lot of this is true and it's so insane, and it's just crazy to say the least. But also, we can't obviously talk about season 3. I just need to see if there's like random Atlanta sightings for you, and then I'm like, oh, it makes sense. But what's next for you?
Well, I got a movie coming out called First Comes Love, Then Comes Murder for TV One. Play one of the lead actors in the movie. It's going to be a thriller, so that's going to be a pretty good one. I was just doing some ADR on it the other day, so it's looking
Okay.
pretty good. So I can't wait for you guys to see that one. And I'm attached to a couple other projects, so I'm excited to see what happens with that. So we're in pre-production. So yeah, I got some stuff that's coming out. I got another movie coming out. They kind of made a reference to it. I just don't know when it's coming out. I just I just saw the poster like recently. But yeah, I got some stuff coming out now, and gonna be working on some projects soon.
Awesome. Well, I would love to talk to you about those projects as well. You're always welcome here, and I would love to stay in touch as well. You've always been great and such a pleasure. So I will. We're Instagram friends. You'll still hear from me.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and we will talk soon. You have a good one, and congrats again.
You too. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you. Have a good day.
Oh, thanks. Bye.